Hello, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Unlock Engineering Excellence, a Unified Application Lifecycle Management, ALM, solution, brought to you by Polarion Software. To start our webinar, I present to you Yuji Wallach, Vice President, Product Management for Polarion Software.
Thank you, Gerard, for introduction. Let me introduce today's agenda. We start with a very short introduction of Polarion Software. We'll speak about the challenges you need to face in application lifecycle management. We move forward to highlight key aspects of our solution and key differentiators. After that, I pass the presentation to Jim Ferranti, and he will demonstrate some key concepts of our products live. At the end, we'll have enough time to go through your questions. Instead of integrating islands of automation, Polarion was founded in 2004 to start with a blank sheet to disrupt the industry. A year later, we launched the industry's first unified 100% browser-based AON solution based on one repository, data structure, and business logic. But of course, we have not stood still. And in the last 10 years, our customers have been able to unlock synergies and empower their disparate teams. And the numbers speaks for themselves. 2.5 million users worldwide. More than 200 extensions in our Polarion Extensions portal. A vibrant community of 15,000 registered members illustrate the value Polarion provides. And of course, customers. More than 250 deployments in leading companies from a broad spectrum of industries. Research analysts agree that Polarion is a great choice. Ovum stated already in 2012 that Polarion has managed to score well in the market impact and customer satisfaction, plus exceptionally well in the technology dimension of decision metrics. Based on our experience with hundreds of customers, we see that the dynamics and challenges in software development has been changed in the last 5 years. Organizations have to release more frequently. The users are requesting rapid innovations. They have to support more and more product versions or variants as a result of increasing customization demands. Software projects are getting more complex. You'll probably know the story that just a multimedia system in a current S-Class Mercedes-Benz contains 100 million lines of code. Finally, software is more and more part of our daily life, and it will be even more as the era of Internet of Things is approaching. As a result, the quality and user expectations are getting higher and higher. Now, we want to show you our solution to those challenges, both the general approach and later practically in the live demo. We discussed the problems and challenges, and we agreed with leading analysts that the modern application lifecycle management should be based on 3 core pillars: collaboration, continuous delivery, and reuse. Collaboration is not an afterthought with Polarion. It's a key guiding principle in everything we build. Polarion was designed from the beginning as 100% web-based solution that provides a unified solution for all the ALM disciplines. It enables effective communication between analysts, engineers, QA members, and DevOps teams online in real time. But we also know that always there are some stakeholders that cannot access the information online. And for them, we deliver a unique Microsoft Office round-trip capabilities that let them not only leverage the documents they wrote offline, but collaborate offsite, offline, on the actual changes and import the changes back into this. For every collaboration platform, it is important to keep track of changes. With Polarion, we store everything in a version control repository. Everything is versioned, including the configuration files, and this is very important for regulatory compliance. Literally, you can travel back in time and browse, search, or even report from any moment in the history. Letting people collaborate is a necessity, but it's also a threat. People are asking, how do we control the change? Polarion was first to introduce the workflow engine to control the lifecycle of ALM entities. What does it mean? The status changes are enriched by the workflow functions that help to reduce the routine manual work, and also with workflow conditions that help to ensure the process consistency. For example, a work package can be marked as implemented only if all the subtasks are implemented. The requirements can be pushed to draft only if document that contains this requirement is also being pushed to for rework. It is often required that the important status changes get formally electronically signed. And a nice extension to the workflow are permissions, not just to control who can access and modify the data, but especially when. The modern application lifecycle solution has to provide capabilities to ensure you can define, for example, when the functional safety category is attached, when the code is code reviewed, etc. Continuous delivery is a pretty big topic. So first, release management. Polarion solution delivers intuitive plan management capabilities, no matter if you do agile planning, waterfall, or hybrid. You can get the actual project status based on the task completion. You can review organization wide or across the project. And this enables the full transparency into project planning that is essential to release software more often than before. To release faster with better quality, you also need to pay more attention on change management. So you can actually embrace a change instead of being afraid of a change. One aspect of the modern application lifecycle is study the impact of the potential change before the change already occurs. To allow that, you need to rely on full traceability from high-level business requirements through the functional requirements, tasks, to individual changes in the source code. With Polarion, all of that is available in one portal, one interface for impact analysis, for reporting, for measurements of key KPIs. Actually, we do not just provide for data we manage primarily, but we also know that our customers are using some third-party software and design tools such as MATLAB Simulink or Enterprise Architect UML models. And for them, we do not just offer ability to link the data, but to publish the elements inside of the Polarion ALM system so you can perform the impact analysis quickly and easily. Another important aspect of continuous delivery is continuous testing and continuous verification. Most of ALM solutions provide solutions to manage manual and some also automated tests. What we actually see is that our customers are really adopting the test automation practices, but they do not rely on a single vendor for those test automation tools. We enable and we integrate with many test automation tools. So at the end, there is one process for all testing activities. No matter if you do manual, internal test automation or external test automation such as load and performance tests. As addition to that, the process of work packages or user stories or any other work end types can be set so the product owner or QA members have to sign the items for user acceptance or QA verification before they can move forward in the workflow. Reuse. Recent statistics says that 60 to 70% of the information is being reused from one project to the other for typical software development projects. What is often not clear is that there are different approaches to reuse different data. Let's speak, for example, about regulatory requirements. You need to be sure that you can share them and distribute the update easily as necessary to your project. But each copy of your regulatory specification should be enriched with its own additional properties, such as your response. How do you fulfill those regulatory requirements? This is exactly how the Polarion-derived documents were designed for. Second, take, for example, an IEEE standard test plans or project plan documents. They are just reused as a template. So you simply duplicate, this means copy, document from the shared library to your project. So this is when document or work item duplication is being used at Polarion. Last is branching of requirements and test specification documents for different versions or different variants of your components. Branching is similar, but also kind of unique in Polarion than in other solutions. You can use branches similarly to as you use branching in a version control management system. I mean, like in Subversion, to publish important milestones. You do not differentiate between branching and tagging. Branch itself, it's not really a copy of a data. It just points to the master document and also to individual work items. So this eliminates the risk of unsynchronized changes caused by copy and paste application. Changes can be propagated live. This is why we call it a live branch. They can be propagated instantly or on demand. Then we spoke about frozen references. Experience and practice shows that organizations mature their reuse capabilities along the following model. They start with the independent product development and proceed to standardize infrastructure. This is the first easy benefit of deploying an ALM solution like Polarion. After standardizing their development infrastructure, often companies establish a platform. First, they develop and maintain a platform on which the products or applications are built. The platform contains the infrastructure as well as the functionality that is common to all the product applications. The platform contains the specification of the common requirements, the test specification of the common solutions. Agreed on this first step, low-hanging reuse benefits, they increase the amount of functionality in the platform to the level where functionality common to several product variants can be managed. In recent years, sophisticated tooling for variability management has been provided, which allows organizations to evolve along the stages in a faster way. So organizations can directly adopt a maximalist variability approach. We built a solution together with established variance management provider, Pure Systems, and we integrated the variance management natively into our user interface as a solution add-on. If you are interested in how to scale the variance management even further, with less need to merge hundreds of branches, follow our webinar next week on May the 28th. So these were the key aspects of our solution, and now what makes it really different globally? I mentioned it several times today. Polarion delivers a fully featured, unified ALM solution. We do not call it integrated, as the components were designed as a coherent solution from its beginning. We provide also point solutions for those who just need a fragment of our functionality. But what is different is that you can actually combine those products together. Whatever product you buy, we always install a fully featured Polarion server, and customers can combine, for example, Polarion requirements with Polarion ALM products and other products. It means that business analysts are working with Polarion requirements product, and they can collaborate with test managers using the Polarion QA product in the same unified environment by accessing the same data online. You might ask, if it is one solution for all the roles, all the different users, how it fits all the different user expectations. We spend a lot of effort on delivering so-called user and role-based user interface. You can configure the portal differently for different user roles, but even more, different users can be exposed with different tools. Business analysts, like we see on the screenshots, author and manage requirements details as paragraphs in a document, and at the same time, the project managers prefer to work with a granular requirements in a table view, but they both access the same data real-time online. And domain experts who want to stay in their familiar environment can do so and still be tied into the centralized repository. Polarion's native integration with MATLAB, for instance, allows customers to publish assembling models as an integral part of their application lifecycle. This gives everyone a right view and right tool for the task he or she needs to execute. Our unified complete solutions can be implemented at a fraction of a time of a competitive solutions, allowing our customers to avoid wasting time and budgets on costly point solutions and consultants to make them work together. Last but not least, scalability. We support large enterprise organizations with thousands of users and projects and accessing the data from all over the world. To enable that, we provide following concepts. Multi-repository. This means you can separate your projects to multiple repositories with cross-repository management and license sharing. Multi-project. You can manage up to 5,000 projects on a single site with with cross-project reporting, cross-project searching and traceability, and multi-server. With our native clustering solution, you can set up a high availability setup with load balancing and full redundancy for 24/7 response guarantee. We deliver much more. You can speak hours about our solution. But let me now pass the presentation to Jim so he can show you some key aspects in his live presentation.
Thank you, Jerzy. As my colleague said, my name is Jim, and I'm going to be your guide for the next section of this presentation. I've been asked not to do any kind of an overall presentation, but to focus on just a few things at this point. One is going to be LiveDoc. Jerzy talked about LiveDocs and branching and reuse and signatures and things of that nature. We're going to see a little bit about that. Also touch on the Q&A aspects of it, where we create test cases and run reports, and you'll be able to see some of those things. And then finally, we're going to talk about our new reporting system. Very slick, point-and-click kind of reporting. Very nice. I'll show you a before situation where a risk analysis or a risk worksheet was created to give a manager an overview of what's happening, and then I'll give you the after, where I've modified it and put it into our new report writer. So, what we're looking at right now is a document. It looks a lot like Word, has headings, it has text, it's got links, two spice links here. As we scroll down, you'll see we can insert things like graphics, tables, drawings. All these different things can be actually just installed right into your document. Now, what you're seeing out on the left-hand side here is an indicator that each of these is a work item. So one of the major ideas behind a document, a live doc in Polarion, is that more than one person can work on this at the same time. Unlike Word or various other word processors or similar products where you check out a piece of code like the whole document and then everybody maybe can read it, but they can't work on it. In the case of Polarion, each one of these items is a separate piece, and each piece can actually be worked on individually or shared, and if by chance two people do actually work on the exact same thing at the exact same time, Polarion is capable of letting you know that that happened and will not overwrite anything for you. So what's in this document are requirements, and that's what these are, these little indicators over to the left. And the requirement document can be then managed individually or independently of everything. A couple things can happen in a document. One of the things that's important is that I'm going to go scroll right up to the top here. We've inserted some information here that we find our customers really prefer. Many of our customers are bound by regulations, FDA or ISO or whatever, all this different standards and regulatory agencies. So what they need is the idea to be able to say, will provide information about a document. For example, here, this document is in version 6.2. This is when it was created. There are several approved versions. 6.2 is not one of them, but nonetheless, there are several that are approved. And there are signatures moving into the review status and also moving into the approved status. Various different signatures are collected and actually added to the document. This is kind of a neat idea. The document capabilities can be found through this drop-downs, various drop-downs, for example, the properties. And here we'll see information about the document, what type it is, and most importantly here perhaps is what status it's in. Jerzy mentioned something about workflows. The workflow engine of Polarion is incredibly powerful. It allows us to go from one step to another in a workflow. For example, we are currently under review for this particular document. Well, I can go back to review, or I might be able to go forward to, back to draft or forward to review. Now, that having been said, there may be 15 or 20 steps in this process, but Polarion only shows you where you are and where you can go from where you are. Now, the complete review here, this action complete review, this is kind of grayed out, which is telling me that this needs a signature to actually go to the next step in the process. So for me to go to under review, I actually have to have, back to complete review, I actually have to sign this. Somebody has to sign it. So let's take a look at signatures just for a second. We'll go back to that drop down, and this is signatures. And I've gone ahead and set this up so that We don't spend a lot of time going through it, which is really not a seriously difficult process or anything like that. But when you sign it, we want to see a comment here as to what you found. Yes, I think this is good as well. We're going to click on sign. I'll show you what happens here. All right, so this action will delete the unsaved verdict comment. So right now, this is saying you didn't save your product, your changes here. So we're going to go ahead and save the changes up here in the upper left corner. Now, what you see now is an electronic signature box. We want to know who you are. Now, this has been implemented in our system several years ago based around the idea that the FDA, for example, needs electronic signatures. There are several agencies that want electronic signatures now. So if you put in the wrong signature, it won't let you go forward. I will go ahead and put in the correct one. I can spell my name here and say OK. All right, so this is going to now let me go ahead and complete that movement. And we will go back here to the document properties. And you can see that we are now under review. And we can go complete review, save the document, and that step in the process is completed. Now, a couple other things that are rather magical about the document. Let's go ahead and look. This is incredibly helpful when you have a very large document. The document outline capability. All the different sections, the different areas that are highlighted are basically hot. So you click on them and it takes you right to it in the doc. And as you can see, the document holds lists, it holds graphics, it holds diagrams, all kinds of things. So when you work with documents, you may have a requirements document, you may have a testing document, and you're going to link these two together based on these work items. We're going to have this requirement is being tested by certain test cases. So let's take a look at the testing capabilities of the system. Polarian's designed around the idea of work items, and one of the work items that is very common across all the projects are test cases. I'm going to change the view here just a little bit and look at test cases. So a test case is here. It has primary information. It's got a heading up here that begins traceability, by the way. This is the name of this test case, and it has a defect. And there's a bunch of information, including test steps, the execution of the test, and any results of the test. These are various aspects of a test case. Now, a test case actually cannot be run by itself. It goes into what's called a test run. Now, the test run is a management level device. As you can see here, we have a dashboard in effect. We have a series of test cases that have been added to this test run. There are 12 that are waiting right now. And if I click on any of these boxes, it will take me to see the actual test cases themselves. I can execute the test here. Just say execute test. It will take me to the 12 that are waiting, and it will put them in a list very similar to this, where the list on the top and information at the bottom. I will go through the test steps, performing the actual functions, and this will be updated as I save and as I complete and save those. Okay. So one of the things that can happen here is that these test cases can be exported to Excel, and your test can be managed offline. You can do your testing offline and then bring this item back into the system. This report will be updated automatically. We also can import the output of automated tools. If the tool's putting out something called an XUnit file, it's an XML file indicating the results of the tests that were run in the automated system. We can generally import those and again update this. So what you see now is a central location of manual and automated testing results. Now, in this particular case, if any of them fail, we're going to see the test results here. You can see we have two test cases, and both of them failed. There's an X here and an X here. And when a test fails in Polarian, it automatically generates a defect. And as I move around here, you can see different aspects of the product are being underlined. These are live. I can click on this and go straight to the defect. What's the end result of this? Well, there is a report that we do that all of our customers actually really enjoy, and it is called a traceability report. One of the biggest problems that we have, not we, the industries have, is that how do I know when a requirement has a test case, and how do I know if that test case is run, and what its outcome was? Well, this is a chart that actually tells us that. This is a table. In the first column, we have system requirements. In the second one, we have test cases. And in the third, we have defects if this ran and failed. Now, without even having to read this, I can scroll down here and say, oh, okay, we got a whole bunch of requirements here that have no test cases. And I can go to a test case, click here, and take me to a test case. And I can look at this and say, this needs a test case. And if it does, I can just go ahead and create the test case right from the requirement. Let's see what we have here. Okay, let's take a look at that and see what we get. Come down here. We're going to click on this, and this is going to bring up that particular requirement. I'm going to add a test case to it. All I have to do is click on the plus sign. This will generate a test case based on some information that it passes in. I would scroll down, give it a description, add some test steps for it. It would be ready to go, and I would save this. Now, that having been done, when I come back to the traceability table and refresh this, I expect to see a test case here beside DP4572. See how we're doing? Having a little bit of slowness with my server here. There we go. Let's come back here, refresh my screen. All right, so the 4572 now has a test case. So the traceability table is live, it is active, and it's dealing with active information. It's kind of a highlight of the QA aspects. We can, as Jurgi pointed out, we could talk about this for a long time, but we're going to move on to live reports. This is a rather recent addition to our system. I'm going to show you a spreadsheet here. This is an FMEA worksheet where you can come in and you can see the risk in its information. And the most important information over here to the right is the occurrence ratings and detection ratings, things like that. And then what you've done and the new levels that have been achieved. This particular report, it took quite a while to write, actually. It wasn't hard, but it took a while. Under the new system, this is what this report looks like now. So this is the current risk FMEA status, and as you go around the chart, you can see how many risks are in each status. You can see what components are being represented and how many risks are in each component. You can scroll down through here, and I've identified several of these categories, risks currently being analyzed or in the analyze phase of their development. And these are the risks, and they're live. You can click on them. The severity ratings, etc. here, the risk priority, and then after mitigation, the new ratings, risks with actions pending. You can see the numbers, and from a central location, almost a dashboard-like effect, you can identify and monitor your risk environment. Now, this particular aspect of the product, very, very easy to work with. We have widgets now off on the left or the right side of the screen, and when I want a report, like a chart, like a pie chart, I'm just going to go ahead and click on this to edit it. I click on the widget and I drop it into a region on my report, and the parameter list pops up here. So all I had to do here was change the title, tell it that I want a risk as opposed to everything, and tell it what to separate it by, which is status. When I hit apply, this chart filled in. Same concept down here. A little different approach, but it's the same idea. This is a block reporting widget. So I came in here and just told it the information that I'm interested in reviewing, and it built the report for me. So this is our new approach where we can just identify widgets and drop them into a page. And as you can see, we have several out of the box. Widgets can be created by customers. They're going to be created by us as well and added to the library. So that's really kind of as far as I needed to go this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed it. Mr. Wallach, is back to you, sir.
Hello, everyone back. Let's go through your questions. You have been posting to the Q&A panel since we were presenting. The first question is, can the workflow action be restricted to some specific users?
Oh, absolutely. Everything in Polarion is assignable, shall we say. There are roles, there are permissions, there is access to the repository underneath. So we can identify what an individual can do, and we can identify what an individual could do when assigned to a given role.
You mentioned your software support electronic signatures. Was it certified by FDA? I can answer that. So we do not provide we don't need to be certified. Polarion doesn't need to be certified for FDA, but our customers has passed the FDA certification that all our electronic signatures fulfill the needs for that are, let's say, requested by the FDA. We have also passed several audits. That we implement the electronic signatures accordingly to FDA certification. Can the document contain just requirements or also other type of items? And there is one similar question, Jim, whether we can also support a use case specification documents.
Great question. Can a document hold more than one particular type of work item? Absolutely. Many of our customers are using one type of work item per document for an organizational perspective, and even an approval perspective where a document is approved, thereby approving all of the items in it. You can define a document that will hold, say, for example, requirements and associated test cases all in one. So you can have your requirement first, and then underneath it, you can have the applicable test case or cases. In answer to the idea of user cases, user stories, epics, all the above can be individual individual documents, or they can be combined into a single document.
Once again, thank you for joining us today to learn more about application lifecycle management and how you can use it to unlock engineering excellence.